My name is Emisha Rawani, and in the paper of African literature, I am going to deal with the poem that is Live Burial by the Wole Soyinka. And my topic is Live Burial Survival in the Face of Adversity or Oppression. These are my informations. And in this presentation, these are the points I'm going to discuss. First is that what is poetry, who is Wole Soyinka, what is uh, claustrophobia, analysis of the poem, live burial, conclusion, and at the last work cited. So, what is poetry? I choose this definition because I think that how the literary style of the Soyinka is going when he is writing the poetry. I think this definition is going with that much. Writing that formulates a concentrated imaginative awareness of experience in language, chosen and arranged to create a specific emotional response through meaning, sound, and rhythm. African fiction in English focuses on the tension between traditional and Western modes of living and seeks to place the African struggle against Western domination and exploitation in the correct perspective. We know that Africa, India, and those are the third world countries were suffering from the colonization, and after the period of post colonization, how people were trying to seek themselves into the understanding of the whole process of exploitation. It is evident that African literary figures are deeply concerned with their own experiences of suffering. This theme is frequently explored in the literature of continent, with writers using their work to give a voice to the struggles and injustice faced by themselves and their communities. Through powerful imagery and evocative language, African writers seek to convey the depth of human emotion and the complexity of the African experience. Creating works that are both moving and thought provoking. Uh, Overall, the literature of Africa serves as a testament of the strength, resilience, and the creativity of its people, even the face of adversity. Now, who is the Wole Soyinka? He is the Nobel Prize winner for the literature in 1986, and I have put the collections of the poems which he has published because now my topic is related to poetry, and he's writing the way of portrayal himself into the poetry. The live burial poem is we can get the collection that is a shuttle in the crypt. The title "Live Burial" functions as a summary of what the Nigerian government tried to impose on Soyinka's mind. The focused image of live burial is about specific response from the depths of the human nightmares. The thought of being buried while still living also the necessarily creates the fear of premature death. Now, when we go to the poem, we come to know that this poem is totally about the life of prisoner, and the Wole Soyinka, the poet, he spent 22 months in the prison, and at that time he was writing uh, his poems in the collection later and published. Live Burial is a poem about the life of a prisoner and the treatment they are receiving inside the prison cell. So I think this poem is a particular expression when you put a poet into the prison. So how you can get the expression, the feelings or the emotions, what they are facing or they are having while they are getting themselves into the imprisonment. Now, what is the claustrophobia? Claustrophobia is a specific phobia where one fears closed spaces. Claustro means closed. Examples of closed spaces are like engine rooms, small or locked rooms, cellars, tunnels, elevators, MRI machines, subway trains, crowded places, etc. Basically, what happens if the person is facing this kind of phobia? Uh, when they go to the such kind of places, when they feel isolated by the um, space they are having. And now, we see the example like what kind of places are stimulating them to have this kind of phobia. This is expressed in the lines describing the poet's cell room. The lines that start with the poem that is 16 paces by 23. So here we get the measurement where the uh, poet has lived as a prisoner. They hold siege against humanity and truth, employing time drilled through his sanity. The confinement of the healthy man to a space as limited as 16 by 23 paces over an extended period of time would undoubtedly leave him feeling suffocated and restless. In fact, the poet's pacing within the cell is not an attempt to measure its dimensions, but rather an effort to uh, elevate to claustrophobic sensations that arise from the room's confinement. The restricted movement and confinement within the small space given rise to a sense of entrapment, which is expressed through the poet's frenzied movements. Now, how these lines are having these two words. Uh, Room is standing as a prison, and he is telling the sage against humanity and truth. So, a poet himself is standing for the truth. Like he is feeling like he is the truth ultimate, and the government of that time has put him into the prison. The poet depicts the smallness of his own cell room, which imprisons truth. Seal him live in that same narcopolis. May his ghost mistress point the classic route to outsiders, Stygian mysteries. The word Stygian, uh, in addition to its meaning of gloomy and dark, infernal and hellish, also specifically references to the river of Styx, which in Greek mythology surrounds the underworld of Hades and isolates the dead souls from the living. So Soyinka lives as a dead soul, isolated imprisonment from the world of living. Then further he is going to uh, discuss about the three guards, and uh, these guards are like the lizard, the ghoul, and the boy. The guard is habituated of the surrounding. He is sniffing the dead bodies to clear his head of sins. He had hanged thousands of innocent people on gallows and the wooden frame. He is like a warrior who gains pleasure by watching others who are naked. He was patrolling for the hours and was entertained by hearing the painful voices of the prisoners. In these three stanzas, he is discussing about these about the guard by the three metaphors. He is taking the lizard, the how the lizard is specified there. That is, lizard is going to wandering on the wall, and how it is making it dirty. And then he put it the metaphor is the coal, and what the coal is standing like the the one who eating the dead bodies, and this kind of ghostly things. And the wire that is he is dealing with when this poet is sitting on the toilet seat, and he used this specific word, that is the wire, that means someone who gains a pleasure by watching other as naked. To conclude, we can say that Soyinka has written this poem when he was in prison and wrote on the toilet paper as a prisoner. Though the poetic sense and its strong use of words prove us how the Nobel Prize winner poet can paint down the life when life itself is hardest. As an activist, he has thrown the light on many aspects by his writing, which are not easily visible to the common people. Soyinka thus literally means that he believes the power structures thrills in the pain of even basic human exertion, and the warrior guard conclusion conscious of his own actions debases how his own humanity passed the point of return. Soyinka suffers are not a mere imprisonment but the evils of torture. The live burial functions not only as a metaphor but for Soyinka as almost and actuality. These are my work citation. Thank you.
So, Amisha, my question is you have mentioned three guard in the poem. You put the original line from poem. So, how the character of Wole put as in a guard as what is role of him or what is your reading about that metaphor?
Yes. So, as mentioned, that also Inca has put three metaphor to portray this actual situation he was facing in the prison. So, the person who was talking on him while he was in prison, he was like how he was sounding to the prisoners when there are the prisoners are already tired of waiting for their death. They are the scapegoats, we can say, for the bad deeds of powerful people. And how someone is how someone is longing for something to be to have a salvation from that situation. And if another person is patrolling over and hours to them. So here he used in that sense that how ghostly things seems in our conscious or in our unconscious, and how he here he beautifully point out the conscious feeling of him while he was patrolling. He was the how while Soyinka was feeling.
Amisha, can you elaborate more how this claustrophobia is presented through whole Lisa Taylor?
Yes. So when you put a person in the room which contains the space like as we know 16 paces or that kind of, the person is what kind of thinking of that person will be like. We will obviously see the surrounding of us where we are putted. So by the time if the normal person in prison, they always he or she always thinks about to get anxiety and all kind of things like depression. But here the unique thing is that Wall Soyinka was feeling thrilled rather than anxious or the depressed. So he was watching around him and the surroundings how affected to his writing. That is the best example he has used these three metaphors what he was watching actually in that prison cell. So this phobia is connected to that like this when you have this kind of phobia you can not see beyond something which is your surrounding, which is in your surroundings.